Howdy folks, I'm Brian and here's some Reddit. Our first story is titled, Am I the Jerk for Offering My Coworker Menstrual Tea? I'm a 25-year-old female and I work in a small office, only about 15 people, and it's separated by a couple of floors. We have a chat at work and one of my coworkers, a 60-year-old male, chatted in asking if anyone had some tea because his throat was feeling dry. A few moments passed and nobody answered him, so I responded that I have some raspberry leaf tea. Raspberry leaf tea is medicinally used for regulating women's menstrual cycles and easing PMS. I did not think to mention this in the chat. I'm on my period, so it's what I had at the moment. He accepted this, so I brought it down to his desk. But when he saw the pink packaging and healthy cycle, he got uncomfortable. I tried to assure him it's not just for that, and it's actually a mild tea, so with some honey, it should help his throat. He again told me he didn't want it by saying it's not meant for me. I didn't press it any further and I went back to my desk. Later that afternoon, I found out he had been complaining about me for trying to give him some menstrual tea. And it was inappropriate because he's a man. I'll admit, I got really annoyed here. He asked for the tea, and nobody else offered anything. So, as the way I see it, I did him a favor by offering him what I had. I did not see any reason for him to not only be so offended, but to complain to my coworkers and make it sound like I was trying to poison him with a feminine product. I especially don't appreciate this last part because being in a small office, everything is like a game of telephone and any tidbit of gossip always blows up by the end of the day. I direct messaged him saying that I was sorry that I made him uncomfortable, but it's just tea. There's no way the tea could cause any harm to him as a man, and I do not appreciate him talking about me to our coworkers. He read the message and did not answer, so I am sure he's still upset with me. Am I the jerk? Thank you to everyone who commented. I did think it was unnecessary reaction, and I was like, okay, when it initially happened, but as the day went on, I started to wonder if I crossed some sort of weird line. Next time, I'll remind him to bring his own tea to work. Alright, OP. No, I don't think you're the jerk here. It's really weird to have such a weird aversion in that he feels like his masculinity is being, I guess, questioned with some tea? Like, it's tea. He has a sore throat. If, he doesn't want a sore throat, just have some tea. So I don't really see what the big deal here is. I think that drinking tea is fine and raspberry leaf tea is fine too. And sometimes teas do have medicinal properties, but that doesn't mean that that's the only reason why you can drink a tea. Teas have a lot of beneficial properties to them. So what I understand about raspberry leaf tea is it actually can be beneficial to both men and women. And in this particular case, it was packaged in a pink packaging, probably so that it would appeal more to women. But I mean, a lot of the products out there do this kind of stuff. Like they'll sell men's soap and women's soap in different packaging. And the only difference between them literally is the packaging. And so men don't feel as bad about using women products. But again, like, raspberry leaf tea actually has a slew of benefits for both genders, including treating colds. So, for him to outright reject this because of its packaging just shows how shallow he is and how insecure he is in his masculinity. If you're a male and you're worried about being effeminized by using something that's for a woman, then that says more about yourself than anything here. Using a product that was designed for a woman isn't going to make you any less masculine. It's just going to either get you clean or some hygiene or some other thing there, depending on what the product is. And in this case, it's just going to give you some tea. So don't believe the hype of television and all this kind of stuff, and just enjoy tea. Enjoy stuff. It doesn't matter if it was designed for men or women. We're all the same at the end of the day. Not the jerk, but at least on the bright side, you now know how to label stuff in the company fridge so it won't get stolen. That was actually a pretty funny comment. By one person, though. It won't get stolen by one person. Not the jerk, that's the most fragile masculinity I've ever heard. Yeah. Not the jerk, it's tea. He didn't ask for tea made for men, manly men with man ingredients that show he's very masculine man with impressively manly colds, or not at all effeminate allergies. If he had, you could have honestly said, nope, I don't have that. No, he asked for tea. Tea marketed to women is, check the ingredients of a healthy cycle tea, still tea. His boomer is showing. If he ever asks for tea or headache medicine, etc., again, you know better than to respond. Yeah. Our next letter is titled, Am I the jerk for making a joke about my friend's dental hygiene? So I have been friends with this girl for about 3 years. She's in her late 20s, and I'm in my early 30s. I have noticed that my friend has bad dental hygiene sometimes. One day, she was teasing me about the fact that I call all sodas Coke, which is a common thing where I'm from. She said she thought it was really funny that I will ask what kind of Coke would you like. One day, she made a joke about this in front of some friends where she asked what kind of Coke I would like, clearly making fun of me. I said back to her, I don't know, but what kind of toothpaste do you want? She got really awkward and quiet, and the rest of the night was kind of awkward. Later, she, my wife, and her boyfriend were out on a walk. She and my wife were talking about ordering mouth and nose coverings off of Etsy and how they like to match them with their outfits, and how they were enjoying having a new fashion accessory looking for a silver lining in this mess. The friend asks my wife, do you know what my favorite part of this is? And before the wife could say, no, what is it? I said, as a joke. It was as a joke. A joke. As a joke. Not having to brush your teeth. Oh, snap. You're so funny. Again, things got really awkward and she just kind of stopped participating in talking with all of us and just spoke with her boyfriend for the rest of the time. Her boyfriend had given me a really dirty look, and they have subsequently not invited me or my wife out to do things with them. My wife said it was because of the toothbrushing comment. I was just making a joke, though. A joke. I was making a joke. And I think she's old enough to know that she needs to take care of her teeth. So Reddit, am I the jerk for just making a joke here? It was a joke. You know, no matter how many times you say it was a joke in here, it wasn't funny, and it wasn't a joke. You're a jerk. I don't even know why you needed to write to Reddit to figure this one out. All I can figure out is that this is hopefully someone who's just trolling Reddit, because I don't know how someone can be possibly so clueless as to what constitutes a joke here. Her teasing you about Coke, or calling sodas Coke, is not on the same level as you telling her that she needs to brush her teeth more. This is like comparing someone, like, say if I poke somebody and then they punch me in the face, like, and saying like, well, I was just poking you back. Well, you know, punching someone in the face is not equivalent to poking someone. So yeah, this is on a completely different level here. It was a completely uncalled for comment. It was completely tasteless, and you know, I just honestly don't see how you can possibly justify saying something like this. There's teasing someone about calling something sodas is harmless because there's no hurt parties. Like, oh, haha, you call all things Coke. How does that hurt you? It doesn't. It's just kind of like, oh, it's a quirky, fun little thing. Whereas, say, making fun of someone for not having good dental hygiene, or your perceived her not having good dental hygiene, is actually kind of a hurtful, cutting thing, and it's not equivalent to, you know, a cute, quirky thing that you might have going on. So she didn't say this to be mean or hurtful to you, but you clearly had this as a pointed comment. And, you know, this isn't a joke. It really is not a joke. Oh, there's some edits. Oh my goodness, it was a joke. I was just making a joke. All these comments are making me feel like I'm a horrible person. I wasn't trying to offend her. Oh, I wish I had read these comments beforehand. Have you guys never watched a comedy roast? Oh my gosh! Guy, listen. Comedy roasts people sign up for. Like, you sign up to be roasted, where you know they're going to be hurtful comments. She didn't sign up to be in a roast. She signed up to be your friend, and you weren't being a friend. And then, okay, 3, I'm calling now to apologize. I will update later. Edit 4, I sent her a text message telling her I needed to apologize to her and asked her if it was okay if I called. Her boyfriend called me a little while later and told me that she was super upset and didn't want to talk to me right now. He explained to me that she wanted me to know that her dental hygiene issues are in fact linked to her mental health, and I told him I didn't know that she had a whole bowl of nuts. And I told him that I didn't know that she was a whole bowl of nuts. And I wouldn't have made a joke if I had known that it was depression related. Wow. You just went from one insult to another insult. How big of a shovel do you need? Like, we're going to have to bring out the backhoe here because I don't think you can dig yourself out of this one. He got annoyed and told me that he thinks I have an impulsive issue or brain damage, and that's maybe why I'm going bald so young. I honestly thought it was funny and I laughed. The boyfriend didn't think it was funny, and he wanted me to know that how it feels, and he doesn't want to talk to me anymore. End of story. I guess, in fact, I'm a jerk and a horrible person. Wow. This just can't be real. I don't know. I honestly, I don't know. This can't be real. How does someone make it this far in their life and not understand that this isn't how you treat other people? Look, OP, I'm going to have to assume for a second that this is actually sincere. This isn't a good way to treat people. This is going to not earn you friends. And the only time, if you say these kind of comments, this is going to cost you friendships. It really will. Unless your friends, all your other friends, make these kinds of jokes and you have this kind of dynamic with them, these are really hurtful things to say to people, and don't say these things to people. People have different levels of sensitivity and they have different dynamics. And, I understand, like, if you have a cutting sense of humor, okay, cutting senses of humor can be fine in certain groups of people, and that's all right. But this is clearly not the dynamic that you and your friend had, and I think that you need to learn when these kinds of jokes are appropriate, because this is clearly not a situation where they were appropriate. And then on top of that, making fun of her mental health, that's also not appropriate. You just really need to take a chill pill, man, and tone it back a little bit. Read a book on comedy, not this kind of stuff. All right, good luck. You're gonna need it. You're the jerk. I love how you call passive-aggressive insults jokes. Yeah. You're the jerk. Much more mean-spirited, and it doesn't even make any sense. You are so resoundingly the jerk, you are being cruel and you know it. What kind of adult thinks it's ever okay to make fun of someone's appearance? Jerks, that's who. You're the jerk. She lightheartedly teased you about your local colloquialism, and you insulted her appearance. What in the world? All right, our last letter is titled, Am I a jerk for not rehiring the nanny we fired over a misunderstanding? I'm a 38-year-old female, and I have a 17-year-old daughter from a previous relationship and a 6-year-old daughter from my current marriage. My husband and I both work, so we employ a nanny. This nanny also takes care of my 11-year-old nephew who comes over a lot when my brother is at work. A couple of days ago, my meeting for this afternoon was rescheduled, so I decided to go home at 4:30 instead of my usual 6:30. The nanny was supposed to bring my daughter home for a snack before dropping her off at dance. I walk in and I'm surprised to find that the nanny isn't back yet. I go to the kitchen and find a can of Smirnoff Ice Smash poking out of the trash can. All the alcohol in my house is in the wine cellar, and my husband and I don't buy Smirnoff. I was furious because nobody in the house had any business drinking. My nanny, when she was hired, was told that drinking on the job was strictly banned. I went into my daughter's room where she was lounging on her bed, and I held up the can and I asked her if it was hers. My daughter swore up and down that it wasn't hers. She looked me in the eye and said that she heard a can being cracked open by the nanny and saw the nanny drinking some kind of can as she passed by the kitchen. I called the nanny and she said that she was on her way home and there was traffic. She comes in and I ask her about the can. She said it wasn't hers, but she kept not looking me in the eye. The nanny admitted to drinking from a can, but said she had disposed of it elsewhere and it wasn't alcohol. I decided to believe my daughter and told the nanny that we were going to have to let her go. After the whole debacle, I called my brother to tell him that somebody else would have to be caring for his son when he came over next. A few hours later, my brother calls and said that his son claims that my older daughter told him that she'd get alcohol from her friends and dispose of it before we got home. My younger daughter then comes up to me after dinner and says that she had seen the same colored cans as the one I found under her older sister's bed. I confronted my older daughter and she finally admitted that she lied. She apologized to her sister and she said that she learned her lesson. My brother said his son really wants the same nanny as before, and my younger daughter asked if this means the nanny can come back. My older daughter said it would be humiliating to have to admit fault to the nanny and said I can't be so cruel as to make her see this nanny again every day. She asked if this means she had to grovel in front of the nanny. I told her that while we are disappointed, we do not want to put her through this and hopefully we can just find another good nanny. I told both my brother and my younger daughter that we would be doing our best not to reach out to the nanny in any way, and that it would be rather humiliating to make my daughter apologize given the situation and potential for awkwardness. My younger daughter cried and said that she loved the nanny more than her sister. Am I the jerk? Yes, you are the jerk. What is wrong with you? What world or universe do you live in where you think that taking away someone's livelihood because your daughter lied is ever correct? That is not the correct course of action, and you're going to teach your daughter to be spoiled. And your daughter is spoiled, clearly, because she didn't think it was a problem at all to get the nanny fired because of her misconduct. Like, your daughter and you are both acting terrible in this situation. No, this isn't all right. You need to rehire this nanny, and your daughter needs to grovel and apologize to the nanny for accusing her of doing this. Like, this is absolutely disgusting that you would even think that this would be the course of action. You need to discipline your daughter. Plain and simple. There is no other better way to approach the situation than force your daughter to apologize. Your nanny needs work. She needs her employment, and having to report that she was fired or something like that to her next employer is not going to look good on her record. She needs to have her name cleared here, and you need to rehire her. Plain and simple. That's really the only option here. You're the jerk, not for not rehiring her, but for not apologizing and making your daughter apologize. So it's cool if she just goes through life not taking responsibility for her actions because it's humiliating. Just what the world needs more of right now. Economically privileged kids who grow up learning that their actions have no consequences and that their feelings are more important than other people's livelihoods. Sarcasm. You're the jerk, and both you and your daughter need to apologize. I doubt your nanny wants to work for you anymore, but saying it's too humiliating for your daughter to apologize is yikes. OP, your daughter needs to feel embarrassed about her lie. How else is she going to learn that there are consequences for her actions? Right now, the only thing you are teaching her is that it's okay to drink when underage, lie about doing it, lie about someone else to the extent that they lose their job and potentially damage their situation. Never apologize. Do you really want her to grow up into a person who thinks those things are totally okay? Exactly. Alright folks, that's all the time we have for today. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, consider giving me a like. If you didn't, consider giving me a dislike. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you all tomorrow!